Hey guys, so I've been thinking about something lately, and I kind of wanted to share my thoughts that I had come up with, and then get some of your thoughts. Thought we could have kind of like a little discussion, little collaboration. Have you ever been in a situation where you find yourself helping someone over and over again with the same version of the same problem, or maybe you just got fed up with the way a person was treating you, so you went and you put the necessary distance between you, but now you feel sorry for that person from afar and you feel guilty, and you're standing back watching them make seemingly bad decisions, at least in your opinion, or be in a situation where you just feel like they could really use some help, so you feel kind of guilty for not helping. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big supporter of helping people in times of crisis, natural disasters, unexpected deaths, all those sort of unexpected situations. But those aren't normally the times that we have issues with this, is it? I feel like the problem actually comes with repetition. Usually over time, the same person's needing help with the same things, and it's often enough to be an issue. A few years ago, I was really locked into the dynamic like this, and it came up again recently, and it just seems like a good topic to discuss and put some thoughts out there on, and get some of your feedback too. There's so many ways that a situation like this can play out. So giving scenarios may take all day, but I have amassed like a couple of quick questions you can ask yourself, maybe a little explanation behind them about your scenario, and to maybe help you start to untangle it, because I truly believe that you can realize that you're doing something. That's kind of the first step, and then the second step is to start figuring out why. Not always, but a lot of times. Why am I doing this? Why am I feeling this way? So let's just go through some of the questions and see if anything stands out to you. Let us know in the comments if you have any more to add, or if any of these questions resonated with you and your particular situation. First up, have you ever tried to help the person before? Did it work? Have you ever tried not helping? I think that's really important. So you're establishing, is it a pattern? How did helping them work out for you? How did not helping them work out? I think that those are really important, like a first evaluation. Are you helping them so that you can influence? Oh, this is a common, and it hurts to admit. I think this one might be tough, but because we're just maybe being a little self-serving, but even though we might mean really well by it, sometimes we just do mean well, and we're just trying to prevent someone from having to face the consequences. But even more complicated, we don't want them to face the consequences sometimes, because their consequences might have blowback on us. And we don't want another mess to clean up. We don't want another problem to untangle. So I think we're all guilty of this. But at some point, we aren't doing anyone any favors, or even ourselves, by maintaining the status quo. I think of a lot of family dynamics where we cover for someone, or, at our own expense in a way, but we're doing it because we don't want the fallout from the situation, that might happen. Will this prevent the said person from living in their authenticity? Maybe because they're making decisions based on what others are telling them instead of doing what's right for themselves. They keep getting stuck in a pattern of failure. Because they're doing something that doesn't work for them, they can't really sustain the motivation. So telling people what kind of jobs to do really comes to mind here. What to major in college, or whether they should even go to college. It doesn't mean that we can't look at our world and caution people about certain realities, but continuing to guide someone down the path that is not right for them is ultimately the wrong path, even if it seems like the right path. Are we preventing them from learning? Maybe that person has a lesson that they have to learn by solving this problem on their own, and you're helping them is keeping them from learning that lesson. Children come to mind here. A child is having problems at school, and instead of letting us face the consequences, letting the child learn from the mistakes, we find a whole bunch of ways to keep them out of trouble. We're going to go talk to the teacher. We're going to go talk to this person. When the reality is, maybe they would just, if they had to face the consequence, if they had to miss recess, if they had to get the B or the C or the D, maybe they would understand it. Another question, are you resentful of continuously helping someone? If you are, you should stop helping for a little bit and give yourself a break. Obviously, if this person is a minor or a senior and you are the primary caregiver, you might have to get creative here, but I would suggest that you bring in outside resources, counselors, hired caregivers, adult daycares, child daycares, as you work to come up with a long-term solution to get yourself the relief that you need, because bringing in that resentful helpfulness sometimes becomes more harmful than it does helpful. Removing the stuff about being a primary caregiver, because sometimes that, like, you cannot help but be a little resentful sometimes of a kid or somebody that you're responsible for. We just have to learn to work through that. But you can, for a sister or a brother or someone who is not your direct care, you can set boundaries there and relieve yourself from that, and you need to know when that's appropriate. Here's a question that a lot of us won't like. Are we expecting something in return and not getting it? Is that why we're bothered? I know someone who was always giving gifts, and people on the outside would praise their generosity, but the reality is that those gifts had so many expectations that far exceeded their value. And then they came with this whole pity party if the receiver's reaction wasn't exactly what that person wanted. But it doesn't matter. Regardless of the value, you should never expect a direct return from someone on a gift. So if your gift is helping them, same goes. You do not expect someone to return some sort of favor if you are calling it a gift. You can call it something else. You don't have to call it a gift. But if you're going to help someone in exchange for something, you should make that very clear. Even if you're going to give someone a gift, you shouldn't even really expect them to keep it. Okay? I know that sounds crazy, but you've got to release those attachments. So if your gift is something tangible, and that person uses it, gets their use out of it, they can't use it anymore, but now they can't get rid of it, it becomes a responsibility and ultimately a burden. So just think about yourself and how you feel about giving gifts, and stop giving gifts if you feel that way, or release the burden from yourself. So those were just a few questions I came up with to ask yourself when you're feeling the strain of repeatedly helping someone out and it just feels like it doesn't feel good anymore. By no means is this an exhaustive list. I just hope that some of you all can share a few of yours with us in the comments, and maybe we could discuss a few things. I hope that you have a really great day, and see you soon. Bye.